almost a year since Brittany Higgins went public with allegations of rape within Parliament House, forcing our leaders to confront a culture of mistreatment facing Australian women. Amy Ramakis has been a part of the national conversation that followed Brittany's allegations, and now she's written about her own experiences with sexual assault in her new book. And Amy joins us now. Amy, you've detailed how hard it's been covering these stories over the last 12 months, given your own experience. You mentioned it really was one comment from the PM that fueled this for you. Which one was it?
It was just after the International Women's Breakfast when the Prime Minister went and did a doorstop interview immediately afterwards and said that he had reflected on Brittany Higginson's accusations from the day before after speaking with his wife, who told him that he really needed to think about it as a father of daughters. And it was really that moment where he said, you know, he's thought about it, he's reflected, and now he's going to act, that something inside of me really broke, that we have to constantly think of other people before we act on such a serious issue. It just absolutely flabbergasted me that the leader of the nation was unable to think about this on the face of it. He needed to be told to think about it as a father of daughters before he realised the seriousness.
Can I just borrow into that for a bit, Amy? Some people, I'm not one of them for the record, but some people don't see the problem with him drawing the parallel to his daughters and his wife. What is the problem with it?
Well, and I have to say this, Peter, your remarks during this whole period is one of the reasons why I wrote the book, because your response absolutely helped fuel my anger and the anger of so many people around it. Because not only do people need to...
What was my response?
Your response when you were talking about the micro and the macro of the situation and how perhaps we needed to think about, you know, some of the other people who were involved in some other allegations that came up at the time. It was just flabbergasting to me. You hold such an important position in the national conversation.
But that was just, can I just, for my own point here, can I just clarify, that wasn't about Brittany Higgins. That was about Christian Porter.
No, it wasn't about Brittany Higgins, but it was within the same conversation. It's all part of the same conversation. And you hold such an important part in that conversation. And for you to take that line was devastating to so many people. And your column today, again, devastating to so many people, because this is the point. The point is women constantly have to come out, talk about their trauma, talk about their position, talk about not being taken seriously, scream the roof down, get to the point where I am almost crying on national television to talk about this, because we're constantly being told how we should act, who we should think about, and who perhaps should be seen in our place.
You mentioned Grace Tame there. I'd like to show some of the photos today of Grace Tame meeting with the Prime Minister, ending her tenure, her incredible tenure as Australian of the Year. It seems to have made a few men uncomfortable, including you, PVO, who felt the need to write an article today telling Grace how you believe she should have acted today. First of all, why do you feel the need to tell Grace how she should have behaved? But second of all, why should she stand there and smile and pretend it's all okay when there is an absolute catastrophe on the cards?
I didn't think she should stand there and smile and pretend it's okay. I just thought she shouldn't go. If you can't be polite in some form, then I just think don't go.
But why should she have to be silenced and quiet? Why can't she go and make a statement in her behaviour about how she feels about what's happened over the past year?
I don't think she's been silenced by not going. I think it would have made a big statement if she hadn't gone, and she didn't speak at the event. So I just think if you can't just have basic courtesy then to the Prime Minister, I don't like Scott Morrison particularly, but if you can't show basic courtesy, I just think it's immature.
But you also think there's a need for respect in the conversation, the language we use towards Grace. You spoke to her in the article today, you spoke about how she acted as a child. You know, when she should have been able to act as a child, when she was a child, only she was preyed upon by a man and lost parts of her childhood. Like in the whole conversation, how we talk about this, things like that, I'm unsure how that helps, how that article today helps when I'm assuming, like the entire nation, you want violence against women and children to end.
Yeah, I mean, look, I survived an attempted sexual assault on me, which I've written about before, so I understand that side of it. But I just think if you can't, you know, be polite to the Prime Minister of the country, I get it. I said in the article, I get it. if she can't be polite to him. But then just don't go, because otherwise I think it's immature.
Amy, how do you feel?
If she didn't go, that would have caused a huge ruckus in News Corp in particular.
Unlike
but
this?
Also,
Same
like,
thing.
but why should she stand there and smile? And why do we have to be polite?
I don't think she should. I don't think she should stand there and smile. I think she just shouldn't go if you can't show basic courtesies to the Prime Minister.
About how she was being childish because she showed her authentic feelings.
No, I thought she was
understand.
being childish, but my point was just simply, I don't have a problem with her having a problem with Scott Morrison.
Why did you write it?
Why did you write it? I think it's juvenile to respond that way.
But why not write an article about what she's achieved this year?
I've written a lot about these issues, and I think she's achieved a lot. I don't agree with everything that she's done. I've got the same view as Rose Batty, that I can see the good as well as the bad in the way that she's functioned. But on overall terms, I think it's been a very good thing that she's been the Australian of the Year.
You attempted to police a woman who lost all agency as a child, where she was groomed and told how to behave. And she has since come out and made her entire adulthood about not behaving in the way that other people think that she should, that she's going to be true to herself. And because of the politics of civility, you wrote a column in the national masthead slamming her for that. You said she shouldn't have gone. She has every right to be there. She has every right to show her feelings. And if she doesn't want to be part of a politically staged photo op, she doesn't have to smile to make other people feel better and not hurt their feelings. It's absolutely ridiculous. And you should know better, Peter, because you got upset over an incident with the PMO and went on a pretty big tweet campaign about it. And nobody was calling you out for being juvenile or childish. People were actually praising you for standing up for yourself.
And when he then invited me for drinks, I just didn't go because I didn't want to go and shake his hand and pretend all was okay.
It's completely different being a journalist to being Australian of the Year.
Of
and
course.
you knew what you were doing when you were doing that column.
But you just drew the parallel, and I'm just telling you what I then did.
To the pylon, and you need to take responsibility for that.
Amy, photo op coming up. PVO is going to hold up your book.
Which I've actually read.
Oh, fantastic.
Amy, your book is called On Reckoning, is available from tomorrow. Thanks for everything you've done. Thanks for joining us tonight. And thanks to Grace Tame for her incredible work over this past year. More project after the break.